Hey y'all, it's Fox. I want to talk about Dr. Eric W. Davis. Of all the characters involved in the investigation into the phenomena, I find him to be the most interesting, and I tend to give the information he shares more credence than most others. He appears to be one of the most down-to-earth contributors to the conversation, and when he talks, I tend to listen. I don't think he's holding much back either. He has a very matter-of-fact approach to the topic, which in this environment is a rarity and a breath of fresh air. The odd thing is, few appear to be able to internalize what he has to say, because if people truly had digested the information he has provided, we wouldn't be clamoring for disclosure, because if Davis is to be believed, which I see no reason not to believe him, we are well past disclosure. But before we explore some of his contributions to the conversation, I want to invite you to subscribe. We muse about all things strange, from the UFO phenomena to cutting-edge tech. I believe the truth is stranger than fiction, so I seek out the strange, because odds are, that's where the truth is. But moving on. First, who is Dr. Eric W. Davis? I labeled him a very interesting person in my first ever video concerning the Wilson documents. Apparently, these documents had passed through his hands prior to them being published online. Davis is an astrophysicist, among other things, and is listed as the Senior Science Advisor to Earth Tech International Incorporated, a consulting firm the infamous Harold E. Puthoff runs with his two sons, Colin and Brendan Puthoff. But that's not all. His bio reads as such on Coast to Coast AM's website. Dr. Davis's research specializations include breakthrough propulsion physics for interstellar flight science, beamed energy propulsion, advanced space nuclear power and propulsion, directed energy weapons, future and transformational technology, general relativity theory, quantum field theory, quantum gravity theories, experimental quantum optics, and SETI xenoarchaeology. Further to this, Dr. Davis is a Fellow of the British Interplanetary Society, Associate Fellow of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and a member of the New York Academy of Sciences, Directed Energy Professional Society, SPIE, American Astronomical Society, and the Association of Former Intelligence Officers. In short, he's one of the guys the US government calls when they need to catch people up on the phenomena. He's quoted as stated in an email that those craft are off-world, as I've told two Senate committee staff and DoD agencies. That is not my opinion, but is where the physics and the facts lead. Short, sweet, and unambiguous. Like I said, a breath of fresh air. There really is not much to unpack here. In a handful of words, Davis explicitly states that he is advising senior US officials that the objects we are seeing buzzing around our skies are off-world. Otherwise, not of this world. It's then reasonable to make the jump to the idea that the phenomena is not a product of human intelligence. If not human, then it must be non-human, or alien, for lack of a better word. Now I want to draw your attention to some awesome work by Greenstreet. I'll leave a link to his work in the description below. If you follow this stuff closely, you probably have seen this. He had the opportunity to hold a Skype conversation with Davis, which he published on his YouTube show, The Basement Office. When Greenstreet flat out asks Davis to tell us, what are we looking at, when referencing the Nimitz encounter, Davis says, "In my opinion, it is not of human origin, not of human construct." He expands on this with the following. The acceleration these things underwent would kill humans, and we don't even have the robotics technology today, or computer technology that operates on autonomous artificial intelligence control that can withstand accelerations like that. Davis has had access to unknown reams of data concerning the phenomena, has personally investigated it, and has the credentials and skill sets required to thoroughly investigate these types of incidents. His words have a ton of weight behind them. The idea that humans are alone in the universe, or on Earth for that matter, as far as I'm concerned, has been put to rest. I personally can't wait for this to be digested, not only by the people who follow this topic, but by the population at large. The conversation appears to be caught in a loop, with people asking the same question over and over, never acknowledging that it has been answered. All the information we need to settle the question of whether humans are alone in the universe has been provided. For the record, the answer is no. No, we are not alone. Another fascinating passage concerning disclosure attributed to Davis reads as such. Well, it's two things. It's the cumulative effect of all of our efforts, decades of efforts of hard work, but the release of this information is driven strictly by the phenomena itself. All this nonsense about planned disclosure or confirmation, that's all conspiracy theory nonsense, and it's one of the first order hypotheses that jump into many people's minds when they are uninformed about what is going on. If I had the opportunity to speak with Davis, I would ask him to extrapolate on this statement. The release of this information is driven strictly by the phenomena itself. This is perhaps the oddest thing Davis has stated. It could be interpreted in wildly different ways. One way is that Davis or an entity he is familiar with is literally in contact with an aspect of the phenomena that is pulling the strings and dictating how information is disclosed. Another is that Davis came to this conclusion entirely on his own, and that this statement is a purely personal opinion. I'd be interested in hearing what listeners think he means when he says the release of this information is driven strictly by the phenomena itself. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. In other conversations, Davis paints a relatively clear picture concerning the inner workings of the US government and why disclosure, as people refer to it, is not a grand, complex multi-decade plan spanning numerous administrations and generations. He acknowledges that the way the US government works, such an endeavor is simply impossible, in part due to the compartmentalization within the government and the temporariness of the leadership. As such, I've put the intentional slow drip disclosure hypothesis to rest. It may look like that, but with a little digging and a rudimentary understanding of the inner workings of government, it appears that there really is no one steering this ship. In addition to this, Davis takes the center spotlight in the recent report out of the Begin Sedat Center for Strategic Studies entitled The Pentagon's UAP Task Force. I'll leave a link to the report in the description below. It's a great read and includes one of the best breakdowns out there concerning the infamous Nimitz encounters. The author of the report queried Davis directly and tabled the idea that the infamous videos released a few short years ago may actually be a hoax. In an email response, Davis had this to say. Sorry Sid, you're off on a time-wasting diversion from the facts. DoD and I perfectly know the provenance of those videos, plus all the associated Aegis weapon system and other radar, as well as all of the pilot reports. These are the facts and are true. What's becoming obvious to me is that there really is a mental block of some sorts that is stopping people from digesting the information already shared and in the wild. Consider this media reaction to the recent debrief media piece, you know, the one that's being referred to as Balloongate.
So Ryan, you've had the privilege of being here and having participated now in 2 UFO segments. Your reaction to this news, real bombshell stuff, man.
This is amazing stuff. And what's amazing to me too about it is my inability to believe it. Like I could, they could walk on stage with a couple of aliens who would start talking, and right. That's not happening. There's some type of mental block that I have that just doesn't allow me to go there, even though I can't do the math, but I know other people can do the math and show the probabilities are such that if you have this infinite galactic historical timeline before you, that the probability is that, of course, we're not the only place where life could develop. And if life can develop, you can have intelligent life. And if you can have intelligent life, you can figure out space travel. We figured it out.
I think what Grimm is expressing here is more common than we would like to admit. I think there may be a form of denial floating around the UFO topic that brings new meaning to the words, "I want to believe." People may want to, but even when confronted with the best evidence anyone can muster, they simply can't. Like I've said many times before, disclosure has happened, we are just waiting on the details. But perhaps what we are really waiting on is for people to gain the ability to accept the information already tabled. What would our world look like if this truth was generally accepted by the masses? Thank you for listening. If you like my work, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. And remember, this ride is not without risk. Be careful out there, and take care.